Cheers, everybody. Good morning. Nice hot brew. Yum. I need to start the chat server, which I was trying to do, and then the seconds disappeared and I had to quickly reach for my coffee. But I think it is alive now. Hello, Jason. How you doing, mate?
Super chat!
Crazy boy, you are crazy. Every stream gives me a heart attack every time. Thank you. I really need to get something happening on the logo for that. Ugh. So how many days is it? How many days till Christmas? How many seconds till Christmas? Ooh, that's awesome. I saw a tweet just come through in my email to Shipu, I think from you. So Pew Pew is qualified for the Hackaday Prize Finals. That is awesome. Got it assembled, but haven't used it yet. Oh, I should actually turn mine on here. It is freezing in here. I could use my reflow master.
It says 15,478,180 seconds.
Wow, that's a lot of seconds. I could use a RMP to heat up my office. How is everyone? I obviously I missed last week's stream. Been super busy. I was going to cancel this week's stream as well because I'm still super busy. I'm working still on that big swarm project. I've got about a week to go, which is pretty cool. And I'm assembling a lot of boards a day. And most days
Christmas says, more importantly, how are you feeling? How is the family?
I'm feeling good. Tired, but good. I think my cough's finally gone, and my short of breath episodes that I get is gone, which is great. Family's all good. Everyone's good. Kids are on school holidays. So they're just, chilling. Everything is good. Thank you for asking. So, I've been in this routine every day for like weeks now. Just doing a whole bunch of boards every day in the morning, and then inspecting, separating, cleaning, and then testing up until the evening. Last night, I couldn't work late last night. There's no way I would have got up this morning if I worked late last night testing. So I thought I'd just continue testing this morning, which is pretty boring for everyone, but I got to do it because I'm on the last stretch now for the job and need to get it all done. I actually shipped the first order to them, the first part of the order to them yesterday. So they've got thousands of boards on the way to them now, and I have to do the balance. Hopefully, it's my own self-imposed deadline of next week, or Monday I want to ship it. Hey Bruce, you're also travelling still? Okay, let me quickly go through and say hello to folks before it gets too long. The list gets too long. So, Yumbo Prime, hello. And Crazy Boy, and again, thank you for your super chat. Again, it gave me a heart attack. DIY in the Ghetto, hello. John Meeking, hi. Chipu, Meep Meep. Henrik, Beata, hello. System. Paul, hello. Christopher Bransdale, hello. Gerald, who's travelling, hello to Jerry's family. Mako, hello Mako, hope you're well. Azzy, hello Azzy, and Johnny, ladies and gentlemen and jelly beans. Jason, hello, I said hello, but I'll say hello again, from Evil Genius Labs. If you don't know who Jason is, he makes those awesome Fibonacci RGB LED displays, little ones and big ones. Check out his stuff. I should go find his details and post it. I will do shortly. Can someone remind me, or if someone else can post it, that'd be great. Jason does awesome stuff. JF, hello. Loki, hello. So, still scrolling. Rota, good morning. Alan, hi. Oh, it jumped. Let's go backwards now. Fee, I hope it's Fee Witter. not Phi, Fee, I hope, apologise, got it wrong. X-Micron, hello. Michael Ford, Mr. England, I dread to think of what the shipping cost on that order. It was, yeah, it was actually massive, and it was a very expensive box, let me tell you, and we had to, yeah, took a lot of care packing it, and I'll show you how it's all being sent to them in a moment, and which hasn't been fun. I'll get to that. And then the box was double walled with cardboard as well, and then bubble wrapped and sent. And I'm hoping it's going to make it there okay. We took out damage insurance on it just in case someone decides to drop it on its corner. It's very stressful until it gets there. It's on its way, DHL Express, and hopefully it'll be there in like 5 or 6 days. And I'm sweating big time until it gets there, because it was a very expensive box. So I'm still looking backwards in the chat in case I missed anyone. I think I've got everyone. So yeah, cool. It's probably going to be small numbers on the stream today because, let's face it, no one wants to sit watching me pack orders. So I have been cutting, to my dismay, let me just get them. So I've been laser cutting EVA foam trays. So the boards are shipping like this in trays, right? And then they get stacked between double walled 6mm cardboard, and then a tray, and then 6mm cardboard, double walled tray, cardboard tray. And then the first box was actually this big, so double trays. There's 300 and something boards on a tray. Man, that stinks. EVA foam reeks when it's laser cut, and I have to hand wash these. So I laser cut these, and it's the most disgusting thing.
Is it Christmas? Says, would you ever do laser cutting orders for people if they paid for supplies and time?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Laser cutting just sucks. Like, sorry. It is, yeah, no. For me, it's a tool, not a business, and it's, I wish I could avoid it. And, hey, Dave. How you doing? It just, so these...
Christmas says it sucks, I thought it cuts.
Well, it cuts, but the process sucks and stinks. And so a tray like this takes an hour to cut. And that's an hour that I've got to hang around the laser cutter in case something goes wrong. And then I have to hand wash it to get all the dust off. It's EVA foam is an open cell foam. And so it just keeps giving off dust. So I've got to wash them and I've got to dry them before I can use them. And, hey, Stephen... And it is just terrible. Really, really terrible. The smell just hangs around forever. So, yeah. So my plan for next time is to vacuum form. I'm going to buy a vacuum form machine and make plastic trays. Like you can generally get for things like this. Right? Like, you know, all my screens, like these are my little 80 by 160 screens, they get delivered in trays, right? So I can like use hips, plastic sheets, whatever, to form my own trays. I almost did halfway through this job, but by the time I would have got the unit, learned how to use it, worked out how to make a mold that was perfect to ship in, and then make the sheets, apart from the cost, I would have been past my delivery date already. So I got to stick it out with the EVA foam right now. So I'm using 15mm thick foam. I did try 20. It's just you can't cut it. Like, it's really hard to cut. Like, you think it's easy to cut in a laser cutter, but it's actually really hard to get it even, and to have it not melt, and to have it not take 2-3 hours per sheet to cut. Anyway, put one of those Apple AirTags in the box to track it. No, I didn't. But I can track it just through DHL's website, so that's fine. So anyway, that's what I've been doing for weeks. It's it was a pretty big order, and I'm almost at the end of it, which is great because I've got so many other things backed up behind that I need to get to. Hello, Futari. Glad to see you feeling better. Just got an Cam for my Octoprint rig. I haven't had time. I've not even plugged it in again. I've just been non-stop production every day. I've been starting my mornings at 6 o'clock in the morning. I've been turning the production line on at 7:30 in the morning because really it's not fair to my neighbours to turn it on any earlier because of my compressor. And I've been pick and placing from 7:30 in the morning and then finishing most nights at 10:30 or 11 o'clock at night by the time I'd tested and slotted all the boards, go to bed, repeat every day for, I don't know, two weeks now, 2 and a bit weeks. 3 weeks? No, 3. I don't know how many weeks. So, yeah. Which is okay. That's I'm not complaining. That's what I've been doing. Those who follow on Twitter the day. No worries, mate. I don't spend a lot of time on Twitter. There's my feed. Like I blink and come back and there's like 700, 800 tweets have gone past, and but I try to scan as often as I can. If I see anything that looks interesting, I'll always retweet it. And yeah, that's how Twitter works. That's how people get seen. So if I've ever missed anyone else's tweets and didn't get a chance to retweet, I apologise. Like I'm just looking now. Like I checked Twitter yesterday, and I've got 999. Like it caps out at 999 for the count. I've got 999 tweets to go through. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to turn on some light. So everyone, Alexa, turn on fire. Oh, ooh.
Mako says, "Sin, how come you had shortness of breath?"
Because of COVID. I had, I don't know really what long COVID means, but I had a lot of side effects, respiratory side effects from COVID when I had it. Oh god, that is so bright. And the last things that took like 3 or 4 weeks to go was my I had this like dry racking cough. I couldn't stop coughing, having like severe coughing fits, and I was just short of breath. Like I couldn't even have a phone conversation. Thanks, DIY. Here, hold my... Oh, you can't do a say inside a super chat. Sorry. Here, hold my money. Thanks, mate. I'll take good care of it. I'll give it back whenever you need. Just let me know. Yeah, so, yeah, I was struggling to even, like, talk on the telephone. Like, running out of breath. Just walking inside of the house into my office, I was out of breath. So, but I'm feeling much better now. Okay, I don't even know how much of this you're going to be able to see. Definitely none of it right now because it's blurry. So I've got so this is how they come out. So I clean them and they go on trays to dry, and then sometimes I'll leave them on the tray to test them, but other times I'll just put them in containers, and I've got quite a lot of containers to go through.
Mako says, "Seems my voice at chat isn't working."
Yeah, it's working. I can hear your voice chat.
Super chat!
What?
DIY in the ghetto says here, if I replace my money with YouTube funny money, lol.
YouTube funny money, paper
Mako
money.
says, "Oh, you had COVID."
Yes, I had COVID 4 or 5 weeks ago now. Yeah, everyone's having COVID. It's okay.
Mako says.
All good. Johnny, thank you, mate. Yes, sex rules. And I've got pink. Look, just for Johnny. Pink LED. Pink. Oh, I knocked off my thing. Anyway, I've got a lot of boards to test. Oh, knocked off my thing. So, yep. And then they go into a big cardboard box. And then they go onto the tray. Or I might just put them on the trays anyway. So I'm just going to start because like this is like really... I'm totally regretting my test jig design at the moment because it's... The cables off to the side mean I've got to spread them out really far. I don't have a lot of room for my jigs. I've actually bought myself my first CM4 and an I/O board to go with it. I'm going to possibly look at redesigning these again, see how small I can get them. If I use a CM4, not that you can buy them, right? I mean, let's face it, it's going to be a while till, like, I can't even get Raspberry Pis at the moment. Still avoided COVID here, but chickenpox finally got me. Really? You've never had chickenpox? Okay, I had chickenpox when I was younger. I had chickenpox bad. I've actually got scars. Pox scars on my face. This a story I'll tell. I always tell, whatever. I managed to, so with chickenpox, if you don't, with the you know, the little pox scabs that you get, if you let them just fall off and whatever by themselves, then you don't get any scarring from them. But if you pick them, or if they come off prematurely, they can leave scars. Deep scars on my face. No chance they're going right. So I managed to be like I don't know how, because I was young, not scratch or anything. And then the last week the last few days I had chickenpox. I got in a fight with my sister, and she scratched my face, and she ripped off the last scabs I had on my face, and my scars right now are because of what they're the only ones I've got. Anyway, I don't know why I shared that. It's really just so I can shove it to my sister for scarring my face. Sorry to hear you got chickenpox. That's not nice either. I've never had shingles, thankfully. So, interestingly, for those that are curious, my new design, which is the one that had the cutout at the back.
Mako says, are these tinny picos?
No, these are boards for Swarm. This is a job I'm doing for Swarm. You can see that their logo on the board. These are going in there in what's going on here?
Mako says, I see.
So I'm still having that USB problem on the non-new boards, but I have yet to have the USB problem on this new design. So this has got the cutout in here. I haven't put let me just set that one out. I haven't stuck a fan on there yet, but there's a slot in here, a cutout, so I can put a blower fan to cool, and it's got this open section here and a hole at the bottom for air to come out. I did change the bottom of these other ones to also have that open slot, but they don't have the bit at the back that lets the air come out. I still have to reset these, the older ones, every once in a while because the USB craps out. Just happened then. This one in the middle though, which is the newer one, I have not had to do it yet, but it still gets quite hot. So I don't know if it's heat related or not. The jury's out still on whether it's heat related. Okay, what I just missed. Only got me a board yesterday. CM4. So I got a CM4 with Wi-Fi, but it's the light version as well. So it's got no EMC and it's got no SD card on it, which means I need to use the I/O board to be able to use it right now, which is annoying. And he touched the USB cable. What did I do? Who? What? The monkeypox, no.
DIY in the ghetto says I got luck yesterday. Someone from Facebook Marketplace near me was selling their CM4 light boards, and I picked up two, one light and one 16 GPS.
Really? Oh, I'm jealous. Because if I could have got my hands on one that had eMMC on it, then I wouldn't have needed the I/O board to do my initial testing. But look, I don't even know if I'm going to go down this road because it's going to make the test jigs quite expensive. By the time, if I use a CM4 and then a custom circuit board that has all of the bits I need that the Pi has that the CM4 doesn't, then it's going to work out to be, you know, 2 or 3 times the price of you just using a Raspberry Pi. But the advantage I can get is I can eliminate, like, this USB cable here. I don't need these USB ports. I can literally I can put traces for the USB directly to my testing port. So I'd only need the one USB, and I could put the USB port anywhere I want. So if I was to redesign this to make it sideways and put the USB at the back, I'd still then have the power cable coming out the side. So if I went to CM4, I could design everything to have the cables at the back and have the whole thing be just this narrow with no cable sticking out. So I could literally get 4 or 5 next to each other in the same space that this is taking 3, if you look at all this stuff hanging out the side. But it's a... first, I can't get CM4s. But even if I could, you know, it's going to be quite an expensive process to go through to design it and then move everything over. Meanwhile, I still need to sit here testing. So I'm just going to keep using these for now. But I've been waiting for a while for CM4s with eMMC to come out again. Apparently December is the next time they're coming. So how long into your chickenpox are you, Steve? From memory, like, I remember being sick for quite a while. A couple of weeks, I think. Every time I touch USB, the stream starts to... Really? Are you sure? There's no drop frames. Which USB cable? On which one? On any of them? Like, if I grab this now, I can't... For me, it's not freezing. So, that one? Okay, no, like, I've got cable in my hand. Okay. Did that freeze at all? No? Okay, let's try this one. Anything? No, yes, no. Oh, did you cool things? Hello. Oh, I just put that in the wrong container. Oh, well, I gotta test that board again now. That was really silly. That's lack of concentrating. What about this one? No? It did drop lots of... It's showing no drop frames here. OBS is showing no drop frames, and I've not seen anything weird on my side. Through weeks when it started, had to get antibiotics after day 12. Wow. Yeah, scars. Shit. Yeah, they'll never go. They do eventually get less, but they're always there. Yeah, yeah. I've got one there and one there, and I think one just above there where she scratched my face. Anyway, might be a coincidence. I don't know. Hey, Ian. Yeah, it was so itchy. It was so hard not to scratch. It was terrible. Especially, I think as a kid it's worse. Maybe as adults we have more self-control, but then again, I don't know. It just froze when it touched my face. It's my face.
Do they beep when a board fails?
No, I've got beeping turned off. They all have sound, yes, but you can hear no sound. I haven't turned the sound back on again. When I use them inside the house, I turn the sound off because my kids drives them nuts. You had no self-control? Oh, okay. As a kid, I found it really hard. No self-control. Well, that's the story of humanity, isn't it? Wow. Was that too deep? Yeah, so I don't have the beeping on. I'm just relying on the, you'll see the light go green or not. Green means good, and it says pass in green. Or it'd be red and red error. I should turn the beeping back on, but yeah. So as you can see, I mean, this is a lot of fun. And, you know, I still, unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, have to test the USB connectors. So there's no easier way to do this other than the way I'm doing it. Even if I made one big jig that could test 5 at a time, I'd still have to plug in 5 USB connectors. Thanks, mate. They are nice. This is my version 2, although it's probably my revision 3 of my version 2 ones. My original test jigs looked like this, which, yes, they're kind of smaller in a way. This is still for my Nano, but the version that it was much higher for the boards that had the clamp on it, and it was less steady this way.
Mako says saying can't a clamp make a difference for a loose component to work with clamp and not without?
Can't the clamp make a difference for a loose component to work? No. What do you mean by a loose component? There's no such thing as a loose component on surface mount. Like it's you know, and the clamp's not touching any components. It's pushing down on the board. They're positioned to, and I'll show you.
DIY in the ghetto says, okay, I need to go, wife yelling and I'm running out the house. See ya.
Mako says pressure on the board.
No, because the board can't get pushed down. It's sitting on this. I only allow the pogos to go down a certain amount. And if you see this, if I push down, there's hardly any pressure. Like I can push further. No, it doesn't.
Mako says understand.
As I said, the only thing, I think I mentioned this on a stream, catch you later DIY, thanks for joining, say hi to wifey. The only thing I'm not testing on these, which I still can't really work out an easy solution, is how to test both sides of the USB connector without having to do a manual flipping or some silly convoluted custom cable.
Mako says soon, what does Swarm do with all these boards, or is that a secret?
They are the brains of their
Connected media players, says Tom. Have you considered trying some right angle USB adapters to have your cable come straight up and not out the sides, sideways?
Okay, hello connected media players. I don't know who Tom is. So it's actually, I've got sideways connectors, but firstly, I've never found small cables that have got a sideways connector on them.
Gate says Tom who.
Yeah, I know who Tom is. And of the ones that I have found, most of them are facing the wrong direction, and it still won't really solve this one. So, yeah, look, it's fine. This is not a problem for me. It's just I can't fit everything under the camera, that's all. But, you know, when I'm sitting here testing boards, I've got either 3 or 4 of these running, and they're just spread out in front of me. And I normally have them further back, this way, with my boards over here, but I'm just bringing it forward so you can kind of see it, at least see one of them. And what I'll generally do is just put on Netflix or Disney Plus or whatever, and I'll just sit watching shows while I test boards.
Mako says, "Then can you tell what Swarm does with the boards again?"
Right, so they go onto their Earth side. So Swarm make IoT-based satellites, right? And base stations that allow you to do like small packet communication, like IoT based communication around the world via satellite. And so for their base stations, they use these boards, or they're using my Feather S2 at the moment, but this is a new board for them that is the brains of the board. So all their code runs on these boards that then connect to, let me, one moment, swarm.space, so, so there's swarm.space, it's their website, and so they've got their, so these are their little satellites, and then they have their base station, which are these things. Hang on, let me just, so the eval kit, so they've got their swarm modem, that modem is what connects to their satellites, and then they've got their eval kits, which the brains of the eval kit right now is a Feather S2. You see here, so one of my Feather S2 boards, but there's a lot on the Feather S2 that they're not using, like hardware wise, and we're in a silicon shortage. No, they're not based in Australia. These guys are in the US. They're in California. They're owned by SpaceX now. So Swarm's now owned by SpaceX. So this is the base station that communicates with the satellite. So these new boards here are a new revision of the board that plugs in to their board. So they've got like a main board that has all their modems and everything else and all the other hardware on it that connects to the, the solar panel and everything else, and then this is the brains. Like LoRa via satellite, but not LoRa, correct? It's not LoRa, no. It's LoRa is beam, like ground based, like GSM. This is satellite stuff. Yeah, it's really cool, really cool tech.
Thanks for explaining.
No problem. I don't know if I remember seeing a picture of the board, but anyway, yeah. And these are also user hackable, so a lot of people they hack them, they hack the code on them to do other stuff. So they're what's great about these, this is not a sales pitch for Swarm, but it's amazing tech, is that they're ultra low power, right? And so they run off batteries and with solar to keep them charged, and so you can stick these little things anywhere and get IoT. So it's small packets communication, like it's small bits of data. It's not super fast, it's not broadband, but it's still reliable. And so companies are using these now for things like global asset tracking and stuff, because it's basically it's satellite based, and you can you don't need a anyway. It's pretty amazing. It's emerging tech, and it's moving into industries that are way beyond where the company originally thought that it would be going.
Mako says you can put them everywhere.
You can literally put them everywhere. Like, people are sticking them in Antarctica and other places, and there was someone on my Discord server that was like, that they're hacking the firmware to do other things and whatever, but still with the satellite communication. In space, no one can hear you scream. Right, except my stuff's not going to space, unfortunately. That would be really cool, but not happening. This is for the ground-based communications part of it all. Hey, Christian. I should move that over here so I can see the chat easier. You can also stick them on your track fleet. Yeah, you can put them anywhere. People are sticking them, yeah, on their trucks. Like
Mako says the space stuff needs to be radiation insulated.
Yes, yeah, obviously. My stuff is not rated for space, which is fine. That's okay. But this is pretty cool. Like, it's they're an amazing company. They're doing really cool, innovative things. and I'm really proud to be working with them on this stuff, and yeah, it's pretty cool. But it's a lot of manufacturing, a lot of manufacturing. It's the biggest single order I've had so far. Yeah. The secret is yards and yards of gold foil. Yes, every single unit, you can't see it. They use invisible wires. Every eval kit is connected.
Nico says, but it creates money you can invest.
Oh, absolutely. Sure. But I still have to get them done, though,
Nico
right?
says invest in new gear.
Sure, but there's still a lot of manual work, as you can see. I mean, these boards don't test themselves. Well, they kind of do.
Nico says you're just one human.
I am just one human. At the moment, I'm just one human. Hang on, someone said, what OS? So, they're actually running CircuitPython. And the code that Swarm provide is written in CircuitPython. So it's easy to update and maintain. But there are people that have... So I think Swarm originally had an Arduino port of some of their earlier stuff, but other people have been porting to different languages and stuff as well. So there's a whole community around this stuff now as well that are taking it further. So all of this stuff is open source as well. Their eval stuff is open source. The kit, I believe, yeah. I don't know how much of all this stuff is open source, so I've got to be careful what I say. I don't know, but they're very big into the open source as well. It's just a really... Do I take holidays? No, I do not. Wouldn't even know what a holiday is. Honestly. I keep saying to Yaz, I'm just gonna... Like, it's a running joke now, right? That, I'll just get over this hump of work, and
Nico
then
says
it'll get better.
holidays are overrated.
Well, they're not really. Taking a break. Doesn't have to be a holiday, but taking a break. Yeah, that could be cool. So, let me just show you this.
Max says CM is on holiday only when he's asleep.
Well, this is my holiday. No, not really. So let me just show you. So this board is failing USB. Okay, so USB not found. I'm pretty sure the board is good. So I'm pretty sure, right, if I stop the code and I restart the code, and my code, when it starts up, it reinitializes the USB hub. And sometimes I just will switch USB ports anyway. And if I run it again, it may or it may not find it, but... Okay, it's still not. But if I go and take this board, right, and I plug it into this one, so that just passed. Okay, let's see. If it fails on here, it's a bad board. But, no, it works. USB is fine. So, this unit here now, all of a sudden, USB doesn't work properly on it. It's not my board. There's just something happens to the Raspberry Pis after doing lots of rotations of testing and whatever, that the USB fails. But quite often, I just have to restart the Pi and it works. Or sometimes I can just keep restarting my code, reinitializing the USB, right? And then eventually it'll fix itself and start working again. Do it. Yep, and now it's working again. See that? There's just something happens with the Raspberry Pis, and as I said, I don't know if it's heat related or if it's just the way it enumerates the ports, because let's face it, every time I plug this in, it's re-enumerating the USB twice. So the first time it puts it into download mode, looks for the USB port, right, finds it, flashes it. Well, that's gone out of focus, I'm sorry. Hello? Focus. Okay. And then after it flashes it, it restarts it and then looks for the USB port again. So it re-enumerates twice, so then it can copy stuff on it. So, you know, right now I'm doing a session, I'm going to be doing a session of 300 boards. So that's 600, at least 600 enumerations. I don't know how many it can do before the USB port starts going crazy, right? Who makes awesome revival ads? It might be an overheating thing, I don't know. I was looking at using asset tracking tags after recently getting of tools and equipment. What? Simon, sorry, I'm just going back reading through the chat. Yeah, 20,000 pounds of tools and equipment stolen. Yeah, that... What happened? Someone broke into your place? Okay, sorry to hear that.
Alan Madsen says, where's the pastime not the same on all of them?
It's a pastime. Because it's hit and miss. So, it depends on how long they take to re-enumerate. The Raspberry Pi is not very fast at enumerating, and with the Raspberry Pi, or with Linux in general, like if you plug a USB connector in to the Pi, by default it doesn't mount it. You have to manually go and find the drive and then mount it. Now on a desktop environment that's easy, like you can make it appear, but from like the command line from terminal, you have to I have to enumerate the board, look for this serial port, find the serial port that is the right one, and then I have to tell it to literally mount that volume as a drive so I can copy files to it. You know, like a USB drive. So that whole process takes time, and it takes different amounts of time each time. Sometimes it'll enumerate the drive and mount it really quickly, and sometimes it doesn't. So they're all within, you know, probably 3 or 4 seconds of each other. And then a second flash is actually faster. I'll actually show you. I'll show you on this one in a moment. So this is copying right now. So this is copying over.
Alan Madsen says, okay, thanks.
No problem. Hey, Michael. It's actually, the Wi-Fi connection is the most consistent part, Michael. Like, it's pretty, like the difference in the connection times when I'm testing Wi-Fi is, you know, the difference between like 3.8 seconds and 3.9 seconds. Like, that part is not overly inconsistent. But you see, that was 49.75 seconds. This test was 51.79. They both did exactly the same thing on fresh boards that have never been flashed, right? Now, if I go to flash, if I do this one again, right, watch what happens this time. Right, and this one was 5:08, so somewhere in between. The copy, see the mounting time, how long it takes to mount? This copying will be much faster this time, because TinyUF2 is smart enough that it can see if the data it's going to copy is the same as what's on the destination in that block, the bulk block it's writing, and it skips it. So it only has to replace blocks of data that are different. See that? 34.38 seconds. So because it didn't have to copy, it saved almost 16 seconds. And sometimes that copy will take 15 seconds and sometimes it'll take 17 seconds. It just, you know what I mean? It's a, seems to be random. Now, none of these Pis are running the latest Pi OS either. I can't remember exactly what they are running, but they're definitely, and I don't update them. They work, I leave them alone. Part of me wants to update them or maybe get them onto the 64-bit Pi version, but I don't want to introduce other issues, unknowns or anything into my testing process. Apart from this USB thing, which I doubt very much an OS update will fix, because, well, it might, but these have had multiple OS version updates to get them to where they are now, and the USB thing's been there forever. But it only happens when I'm doing the testing with CircuitPython. If I have to mount the drive, when I'm doing it just with like my tiny picos, which is like MicroPython, so I'm using ESP tool only and not doing the whole mounting thing, then I don't seem to have that problem. So it's definitely a USB mounting file system, something or other, that's causing the problem. How's that for a lot of words out of my mouth? So I'm still going through this first container, and I have 3 more of those to go. I should start putting some in, slotting them into the phone. It's not really very exciting. Like I actually stand on my bench. I don't do this normally sitting down, but I literally just sit here and slot these in like this. It is just so much fun. And the smell is just, really is like yeah. See, look at this. This is just talk about manual labor. Linux USB stack is such a mess. Is it? I don't know anything about it, but I'll trust you on that one. I mean, the issues I'm having all the time here back that up. But I've not had this issue on my new unit yet, which is bizarre, and I don't have it consistently. Like this one on the right hand side over here, that one there, like, you know, it hasn't happened at all today. It happened yesterday, where this one on the left hand side's already happened twice today. So I don't know what it is. When I'm doing lots of testing, flashing, and dev work with my boards, after a while I have to reconnect the hub in order for the USB connection to work again. Right, it's yeah, well, that's, it might just be a general USB thing, I don't know. Like, it's a lot of boards very quickly. I don't know whether it's a timeout issue or whether it's just like a memory leak issue or a
you got 2 testing, but there's 3.
What? You got 2 tests? There's actually 4 now. I built 2 more a couple of weeks ago on a stream. So I've got 4 now. This one, USB is not working at all. And I have to pull the board out and do a closer look. I've checked all the...
Super chat!
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but USB is not working at all on that one. Jack McMack, hello! Good evening. Is there some firmware you can update on the Pi? Yeah, maybe, Michael, but I'm reluctant to change anything on these Pis right now while I'm in the middle of at least this swarm job, because I don't want to suddenly have no test jigs working. So I'll wait. I'm going to wait till this is over, so sometime next week, and I'll take one of the Pis, and I'll take probably the one on the left, which seems to be the worst, and it was also the very first one I made. It's got the F1 on it. That's how I can't even see with the light. That's how I know which one's which. F1, F2, F3, and F4 for each Pi. Yeah, and I'll update it and I'll see. You have spares. Yeah, I don't need spare. I've got plenty of Pis. Trust me, I've got plenty of Raspberry Pis. That is not the issue. I'd just like to know what it is. Like, see, again, it's done it again.
Makers love the keyboard ripped out keys.
Thanks. See, this is failing again on USB. But guaranteed, if I plug it in here... See, the problem with it is, I then have to check the board and go, okay, is it an issue with the board, like a USB connector or something, or is it the Pi, right? Which means it just wastes time. Right, it's the Pi, because it's working over here. So I have to stop this software again. I should put this on a key press or something, like a menu item, but anyway. And generally if I restart it and grab another board, generally it starts working again. Sometimes not. See? Now it worked again. Oops. Now it's flashing. It's frustrating. Like, I would have trouble giving this, that's one container gone, yay. I'd have trouble giving this potentially to someone else to sit and test without them knowing all the intricacies of this. Oh, thanks Johnny, you beat me to it. I was just doing that. Hello, what are the names of the two large microcircuits on the firmware board? Are they for GPIO Raspberry? The two... What two large circuits?
Mako says connect with a USB-C female connector.
No, I don't think it's the cable, because when I restart the software and it reinitializes the hub, it starts working again, and I haven't changed the cable at all. I need a tester next. Yeah. So, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. Kekcherburik. Hello, what do you mean by the large microcircuits on the firmware board? Large microcircuits. I don't know what... Oh, did you mean here? You're talking about these? These chips? They're I/O expanders. So that gives me 32 I/O that I can test on the board. Up to 32 I/O. If that's what you meant. Excuse me. Over my coughing, he says as he coughs. Johnny versus spammers. Johnny wins. 1-0, yes. And you know, the thing is, the testing on these is... Look, 50 seconds is fine, really, when you've got a lot of jigs. But it's too quick for me to like go and do something while I wait. And the more jigs I've got going, the more often I have to come back and switch a board, right? And so every time I leave a board sitting there unswitched for longer than 50 seconds, I've lost that time to test a board. So if I'm going to sit and test, I need to like sit and focus on testing to make sure that I'm not like... You know, I can sit there and test 300 boards over a whole day, getting distracted, or I can just sit solidly and test them and get them out of the way. It's, yeah. So doing, like, with putting CircuitPython on them takes longer. Like, my test process for a tiny Pico where I put MicroPython on it, and I don't have to mount the drive, and I don't have to flash the UF2 and then copy CircuitPython on, etc. That is a faster process. Like, that testing time is about 31 seconds for flashing and testing. This is a little bit longer, but that's okay. I ship all of my boards now that have native USB support with CircuitPython on them, because people can just plug them in and start using them. Like, the mounts as a drive and they can see it. By the way, Adafruit have now got my S3 boards back in stock as of the 27th. They've been out of tiny S3s for a while, and I think they had one Feather S3 left. But anyway, they've been restocked. So if anyone was looking for any of my S3 boards and they're in the stateside, then Adafruit have got them back in stock. Yay. I need a test robot. I need a robot to test the robots. Yeah, that's... Yeah, there's a test robot can't do this. I wouldn't think it would be easy to make a robot that can plug in and out USB connectors reliably. I mean, no, let me rephrase that. I'm absolutely sure it's possible. Not possible for me to do, and it would be very expensive. Yeah, like I'm sure a Tesla bot could. So I'll just, hang on. I think I've got $20 in my pocket. Is that enough to buy one of those? Yeah, I don't think so. That's the problem. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm sure a very, very expensive testing rig could do it, custom-made testing rig. But yeah, my margins on these boards are not that high, not even close. So yeah. So this is it, manual labor. Eventually, I will have other people doing this for me, so I don't have to sit and do it. Eventually. But yeah. Oh, here we go again.
Mako says how many on one foam panel?
Sorry, how many on a panel? On a foam panel. There are, I'll let you do the maths. Each column is 36 boards, and there are 4 columns on each half, or 8 columns on a whole panel. So you can do the maths on that. Exactly, it will not be economically viable to use a robot. No, I'd end up, I'd have to spend like $750,000 to buy a robot to do this for me. That's probably not, I can employ 3 people, one each, to sit in front of a test jig and test all my boards for a lot less money than that. No, 38. Sorry, 36? Sorry, my fault. 38. 38 in a column, not 36. I apologise. Sorry. Wow. Silly Sion. It used to be 36. My original ones were 36, but I worked out I could space them a bit closer together and not have them be...
Alan Madsen says, can't you train your wife?
I don't need to train my wife, but I don't want her sitting here doing this. She does other things for me, like she puts labels on bags and puts cards in bags and stuff. She's labelled and bagged many tens of thousands of products for me. So like, and she also looks after the house and the kids. So, she has a worse job than I do, let me tell you. Yeah. But there are potentially things happening, so yeah, stay tuned. What's the minimum labour? I don't know, but
Alan Madsen says nice she is helping you that way.
Yeah, it's great. It's and she's got other interests as well, like things that she wants to do in her downtime. She doesn't get a lot of downtime, so when she's got downtime, I also feel like this is my job. This is what I do. But I feel guilty asking her for help when it's taking her away from things she wants to do. So, she's got other interests. She's not really into the electronics or manufacturing kind of scene, Wouldn't be her first choice. So, that's funny. Yeah. So the reason I'm doing these in trays and not putting them in bags like I normally do is because then the nice folks at Swarm have to sit there and open up every bag to get each board out, which is very time consuming for them as well, right? And I still have to work out how to pack that many boards together and not have them get damaged. So providing them on trays, just like, components, means that they're really easy for them to store. They can store them on shelves and they can just pull boards out as they need them. It's just been a real struggle to work out how to make trays that are... Like, EVA foam is really expensive as well. Like, really expensive. And not easy to come by in Australia anyway. Like, I can't just be ordering sheets of EVA foam from China. It'll... Like... I need them perfectly flat. They can't be bowed at all. And I can't risk... and I buy them in massive sheets, which I then cut up, because that's the cheapest way to do it. So, yeah, it's it's been an interesting process. A lot of different thicknesses of EVA, a lot of different ways of trying to cut it. And even though I've got like an 80-watt laser cutter, it's a Chinese laser cutter. Like it's a, it's not a a $50,000 laser cutter. It's a $4,000 laser cutter, and it cuts accordingly. Like it's just not even with its cutting. It's not, you know, a perfectly squared gantry. It's not, you know, it's got issues. So trying to get consistent cutting out of it quickly is hard. Yeah. Okay, so thanks, Johnny. I need to I can't seem to, how do I okay, I just reported them.
Says still better than a CH machine.
It's, well, wait, what is better than my laser? I don't know. It's definitely inconsistent. No, but I just reported them as well, though. But I don't know if that's going to help. It's kind of weird. I feel so relaxed on live stream nights. I'm glad you do. Yeah, I'm not getting much slotting in going. That's okay. Every time I get a couple of boards in, I have to then go and switch them over. So anyway, I'm going to get I'm going to go vacuum forming for the next lot. I almost bought a desktop vacuum form machine, but I'm going to buy something a bit more industrial. Reminds me, for the UV laser with galvo motors, does that not mean that the curve is slightly angled? Yes, it absolutely does mean that. Are you talking about for PCB separation? Because, yeah, the whole point of that is you've got an XY bed that moves, and so you've always got the board that you're cutting in the center, ideally. Or you're using a beam focus stuff that can move the beam a little bit. But for for a 1mm board, it's not really a problem. It's only an issue for the thicker you are, the more of an angle. And I've actually got that with my laser cutter, that as I get further away from the homing position of my gantry, because it can cut roughly 750 by 550 millimeters, the further away it gets, the slight angle, I start getting an angle on the laser, which is really frustrating. So I get, yeah. So instead I have to scan cut these, which takes a really long time. It's very slow. Okay. I'm actually quite surprised how long these test jigs are lasting, I gotta say, and how well they hold up. I mean, I've lost track of how many boards I've built now. I couldn't even guess, like, honestly. I don't know. A lot. And every single one of them has gone through the jigs at least once. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. I thought I'd be having to replace them a lot more often. Same here. What are we talking about? I think I might have made these slots on this one a bit too tight. Anyway, pass. So once this is done, this order is done, I am going to do my first run of my Proto 3-uppy boards finally, and I'm also going to run my next batch of Reflow Master Pros. So if you're after a Reflow Master Pro, I'm sorry that it's taking so long, but this has got priority. Make sure you go on my wait list, because I don't know how many I'll have on my next batch. How many can you test per hour? I don't know, like it depends on how focused I am. I'm totally distracted with chat and everything right now, but if you look at like, let's call it a minute per board, and you know, 3 gigs, so that's 3 boards a minute. Let's call it 2 minutes a board, I don't know, you know, stuffing around in between.
Alan Martin says, will you have a U dealer?
Well, I have an right now there's no EU dealer happening. And for which, hang on, wait, take a step back. An EU dealer for Reflow Master Pro, that'll never happen. They'll only ever be available through me, if that's what you mean. For my other boards, Berry Base ordered a whole bunch of stuff for me, and then they have just gone dark and disappeared. So I don't know what's going on. So this board, this is gone again, this one. It's very annoying. $90 now isn't too bad. Is that what it is? For them all. Well, no. There's a lot of my products will never go to a reseller. Like I don't have resellers at all for my Reflow Master Pro. I don't have enough margins in them for resellers to stock them and sell them. I mean, if you think about it...
Mako says since Swarm sells them on to users or uses them internally.
Yeah, the Swarm boards are only for Swarm. Like, I don't sell these boards. Like, these are for Swarm products. So, yeah, the Swarm stuff... This is a client job that you're seeing me do. It just happens that I'm allowed to talk about it publicly. But for my own products, there are some things that'll just never be to a reseller. So yeah, like, you know, resellers need their margin, and that margin comes off what I make on the board, yet it takes me exactly the same amount of work. Yeah, this one keeps going. It takes exactly the same amount of work, and I make considerably less money on it, and it's just not worth it on some of my products. I might have to stop using this jig on the left because the USB keeps going all the time on it now. I'm going to actually tell it, I'm going to restart it, so I can actually shut down. I'm going to actually hard power it down, so I can actually tell it to shut down just by holding that back button. Does it shut down?
Mako says yeah, it takes longer.
I'll make the Reflow Master an open project.
You make the Reflow Master an open project, so it's possible to make a PCB and solder itself.
Reflow Master Pro? No. Reflow Master already is. So you can already do that now with the Reflow Master. But no, not the Pro. This one just failed a GPIO test, but I'm pretty sure that it's because my little, where's my, the up and down, up and down, up and down. I need to, I deliberately haven't put any Loctite or anything on these because they need to be adjusted per board. What I'm doing, sometimes they get loose and it doesn't hold the board down properly. See, this one's getting a bit loose. So it depends how aggressive I am with it. It's complicated. Yeah, no, the Pro's not, or it can't be hand soldered anyway.
Mako says Poggers stayed low.
No, there's yeah. Pogo stay low. No, it doesn't push the board down hard enough when it's loose sometimes. So that just passed now. I normally catch that as I'm plugging it in. But again, I'm trying to read the chat at the moment. Okay, so turning this one on the left off. I wish you could see what I was doing. I might just move that away. So I can see the black it just left? Oh my god. And now I've got black on my fingers. This EVA foam sucks. Okay, so let's turn this back on. I'm going to let it reboot. And maybe it'll fix itself betterer than before. No unlock nuts, movable, but won't budge from clamping, unclamping. Yeah, maybe. It's fine. I normally tighten them before I start a session, and they last, days, but I haven't for a bit. Cool, Alan. Yeah, it's... Open source is great. I'm a big fan of open source. Open source also doesn't pay my bills or feed my family. Maybe at some stage I might release it. Some of the stuff open. Excuse me a moment, I'm just going to blow my nose. Cold coffee. But, yeah. I mean, making a one-off Reflow Master Pro would be horrifically expensive as an open source project. As a one-off project, just with the components on it. Assuming you could even get the components. But yeah, it's a... I don't have... Yeah, anyway, doesn't matter. I understand that, but that's not my fault. Like I'm not in charge of the the foreign exchange, the and freight. Like I get that. I do, but a reseller's not going to help. Like it would cost you as much buying through a reseller as it would buying through me, because I don't have the margins. Like a reseller would just have to put their margin on top of whatever my price was. I can't really do anything about the cost of freight right now. Freight's getting faster, which is awesome, but freight prices will never go down again, I don't believe. Gone are the days where you can send a board in the mail for $3 or $5. I don't think that'll ever happen again. Okay, so this is powered up again. Let's log back into it and see if we can test a board now on it. Whoop. If I can get it in frame. So this has just been completely powered down and repowered, and it's now working again. We'll see for how long. Just got my boards. I don't know how much 250 DKR is.
Mad Tucci says morning.
Hey, Mad Techie. Yeah, absolutely. I know freight is out of control, but there's nothing I can do about it. Like, it's not me setting the prices. And for a lot of the stuff that I ship, I lose money on. Honestly. Even at those prices. Like, I do a flat rate for pretty much all of, like, Europe and that region, but I don't pay a flat rate. Like, there are some countries in Europe that cost me almost, 50% more to ship to than other ones. And I don't have the time to sit and just go through the pricing for every single country and set individual countries' pricing rates. So I just wear the difference. I find the lowest rate and I wear the difference myself, right? And still, it's expensive. I was talking, I don't know, I can't remember if it was on a Patreon video or maybe this isn't working, this one on the, what's going on here? Oh, did I put the thing on the button? Maybe. Try it again. So because of the cost of freight, my bubble bags that I use, that I ship in, and my bubble wrap went up 3.5 times the price, and my bags went up 2.5 times the price. So for every bag I ship, every product I ship that has a bubble wrap bag and a bit of bubble wrap in it, with the product in there, has costing me on average just that, the bag and bubble, 3 times more. And I'm not passing that on, right? Like I haven't, added $2 to my shipping fees to cover that. I'm just wearing it. And I'm not complaining. I'm just, it just is what it is. Like, I don't want to up my shipping rates, and whenever I can, I drop them. But it's so I don't know if anyone's been following. Like, the cost of fuel globally has gone through the roof, and so all shipping rates are going up again. Everything is going up. Prices are going up. Like, everyone's prices are going up because everyone who sells anything gets all of their product and stock via freight, right? It's just insane. Digital things. Curious how your time percent is currently split these days between manufacturing and R&D. Are you happy much you allocate new products design? Sorry, I saw the question, but I was distracted. So right now I'm doing 0 R&D. I'm struggling to even get products that I've already designed that are ready for production into production. I'm doing all of my time right now is manufacturing. Every time I think, right, sorry, see, totally distracted. So I was saying before about the little joke with Yaz and I have, that's another container gone, yay, 2 more to go, that I have this running joke with Yaz that I'm just going to get over this hurdle and everything will be fine, right? What's actually happening is, and this has now been consistent for the last almost 2 years. Oh my god, the USB's gone again on this jig. It's never this bad. It's never this bad. I don't know what it is. Oh, I wish I could zoom out further. Right, I'm just going to stop that. I'm just going to switch to here for a second. I'm distracted. I got to talk. So, what's happened over the last 2 years is that it's like I go through this really busy period, expecting it to settle back down again, right? Back to whatever my normal is. But it doesn't. What happens is it gets really, really busy, and then it stays there. And that becomes my new normal, right? It's not a hump. It just goes up and stops. And then another hump starts, but it never drops. It's just... I'm not complaining, but it's out of control now. Like, I'm out of space. I've got benches through the middle of I can't move in my office anymore. And it's it's honestly out of control, and I can't bring any help on here. And anyway, there are plans in motion. That's all I'm going to say right now. But I'm not spending any time R&D at the moment. I cannot get on top of anything.
Alan Matson says then you can move to you.
Yeah, I'm not going to move to EU. Sorry. Not leaving Melbourne. I can't move. My family won't move. So I'll either have to do it myself. Hey, Marius. It's really not ever got taken.
Late.
Hey, Wagon Loads. Oh no, you took double, Marius.
Rico says move Australia to Europe.
You could just move to Australia. It's amazing here. I love it here. Anyway, we don't have the silly EU council here making stupid... Anyway, not that Australian government's any better. Let's stop talking about governments. Sounds good in terms of building a business, but downside being not be able to spend more time on more fun maker stuff. Right, but that's going to change. I've got plans in place. More on that later. But yeah, like the second I finish this, I've got I've got a massive, I've got reseller orders that I've been pushing back. I've got my own products to do.
Alan Madsen says, yes, my family has friends in Sydney.
So move to Sydney. Nice and close. Yeah, I don't grind my teeth. Marius, you grind your teeth? Okay, yeah, this is... I'm going to stop using this jig, I think. It's just pissing me off. Yeah, it's really hard to talk and focus on this at the same time. So yeah, business is good. Not really what I got into this for though. So, you know, this is always about finding electronics for me was always about a hobby that I could generate an income from, that I could provide for my family. But it's turned into a full-on thing. Like I honestly had not had a day off in at least 18 months, like including weekends. Like I just do 7 days a week. No, it's all cool. I'm happy to talk about it. I want to talk about it. These are distracting me, not the chat. But I have to get this going. Oh my god. Okay, back in a moment. Okay, sorry about that. I have to power everything up. Turn the compressor on. Turn the pick and place machine on. Turn the oven on. Because as soon as my stream is finished, I need to start pick and placing more boards. I've got to do a minimum.
What are the chances of China embedding spyware inside the ESP?
Unlikely. Very unlikely, I would think. I don't know. I've got to push out at least 300 boards a day to get the swarm job finished on time. Let me try again. So that's a lot of boards. So I'm definitely way behind now. Yeah, but that's okay. I didn't want to not stream, so the UAP mystery instead. What? Who? What? Where? What? How big? It's big. It's over 5,000 boards for this run. So it's a lot of boards. My previous biggest order before this was 4,000 boards. So this is almost 50% more boards. That's okay. I wish it was easier for me to share this process, and maybe in the future it will be. And there's really not a lot that's glorious about any of the stuff that I do. Yeah, I need help. Mentally as well as physically. Like people say go use a CM, but a CM won't help me because this part of it a CM doesn't do. And if a CM does do this part of it, it's super expensive. So yeah, like I don't need like the manufacturing side is no problem. It's all the work after the boards are manufactured that takes time, and that doesn't get any quicker with the CM. So
Mako says you need a cable plug-in robot long.
yeah, no, I need help. Yeah. Stay tuned. Watch this space, is all I'm going to say. Which reminds me, I need to check my email. One moment, please. Nope. And close. Bummer. Google Sentinel AI to work for me. No, I need actual physical people. Ever considered hiring a buddy for a day to help test boards? Absolutely. But not. I can't here. I don't have the space to have anyone helping here. I really don't. And I don't want to have people coming in, sitting in my house, helping. In the space like my. Yeah, that's not really an option. So. I don't have any space for anyone to help right now. Like, even when Yuz is helping me, she's doing it in the house. Spread out all over the kitchen. Test them hot out of the oven. I can't test them hot out of the oven. They've got to be separated first. Mentally support the effort, yeah. So just test and programming, and they charge less than I charge customers for my time. I've done the pricing many times, Johnny. You're using a CM in the EU. Forget about using a CM for me in Australia. They are horrifically expensive, like out of control, horrifically expensive. And I can't do this with a cheap Chinese manufacturer. So, yes, they are very, very expensive in Australia. The labour cost in Australia is very high. Oh, here we go again. A CM is a contract manufacturer. It's called a CM. Contract manufacturer. You pay someone else to manufacture for you. So it's just that, like, equipment in Australia is expensive. Importing equipment in Australia is expensive. Space is expensive. Staff is expensive. And so, CMs in Australia they're not designed like to do massive, large run jobs. They're designed to manufacture stuff for companies that can't manufacture stuff themselves. And they charge appropriately. And I would never want to do, like, to me this is not what I'm doing right now is not contract manufacturing, right? Not in the same sense. Like, I'm making these for Swarm, but I designed these boards, right? Like, I designed these boards for Swarm and I'm making them, so I'm selling them the thing that I designed for them, which is different to someone coming to me saying, hey, this is my product, this is my design, will you make my design for me? I will never do that, ever. I'm not interested in being a CM. I wouldn't want the responsibility of being a CM. It would suck. I could see the appeal as maybe as a business to do it, but that's like that would be horrific for me. I only do stuff like this because I'm actually designing the board.
Mako says how many secs is one test run?
Between 49 and 52 seconds. It might be cheaper than your time, Johnny. That doesn't mean it's a good deal. I had been following the X1 Carbon, and I 3 times I've almost bought one. I won't say backed it, because it's a Kickstarter, but you don't back it because they're already making them. Like, they're not doing the Kickstarter to get the funds to finish designing it. They're actually making them. I wanted to get one because of its speed, but the truth is I need bigger, not faster. So, and I've got other more important things to spend my money on right now. So, but yeah, the Bamboo X1, specifically the Carbon, looks really good. Yes, it does. And they are stirring up the industry a little bit. Their AMS, their multicolour system, is extremely wasteful. That's not great. It's always documentation for seeing that is the time-consuming thing. You know exactly what to do. We get firms asking us all the time for test and
Roxy
packing.
says, hey, Cian and everyone, sorry I'm late.
Hey, Pat. Right, I'm not saying that CMs aren't justified in charging what they charge. Like, that's what I'm saying. I would not ever want to be a CM because of how much responsibility and complexity and everything else that there is. Hey, Aaron. And so I totally get it. Like, I would not want to be responsible for someone else's product that I had no hand in designing in any way, right? But I totally get why CMs charge what they charge. But people think CM's all about assembling the boards, and it's not. Assembly is cheap and quick. Like, the manufacturing line for me is the smallest part of everything that I do. Right? For me to ship these boards, the assembly is not even 10%. Like, from getting the panels, pasting them, pick and placing them and reflowing them, that is not even 10% of everything I need to do to ship this one board. So that's the fallacy with a CM, is that people think that's the expensive part. That if they do that for you, it works out more cost effective. It doesn't. And what Johnny doesn't have to suffer on, because he's using a local CM, is that if I was to get my boards made in China, the cost, firstly, I can't get them the components, right? So we won't even go there, and they can't get the components. But the cost for me to bring those boards back to me, to then do what I need to do and ship them, like I'd lose thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars just in freighting them back to me. Right? Johnny doesn't have that problem because he's using a local CM. Anyway, we should, yeah, CM's not a way forward for me. I don't think Prusa have stopped innovating. But yeah, look, we'll see. Oh, awesome.
Doctor Who says how many of the USB connectors were broken from the manufacturer?
How many of the USB connectors were broken? What do you mean? How many were broken? I occasionally get like USB connectors on the reel where the pins are slightly bent on them, which is really frustrating. So like, you know, generally, if I'm testing boards and there is actually a problem with the board with the USB connector, it's like 98% of the time it's because of the quality of the USB connector, or sometimes there's a bit of stray metal inside here or something. Look, it happens occasionally. I moved to a new USB connector, I don't know, maybe it's a long time ago now, maybe 12 months ago, a different manufacturer, and have had less problems, but I still get the occasional. Yeah, so... hey Andy Mouse. Sorry, what was I just saying? I'm lost. Oh yeah, the Neoden 10. Cool. So I was chatting to Neoden about that. So unfortunately the Neodyne 10 is identical to my machine except for the screw rod rather than using belts. That's the only difference, which is really disappointing. I'm not saying that you're not going to have a nice time with your Neodyne 10, but it's there was a lot else they could have improved with the machine that they didn't. But for its price point, yeah. Just one thing you need to just come to terms with now, Pat, is that forget about their 16,000 components per hour bullshit. Okay, that you're most likely going to get sub 5 or 4 on your production, right? So just once you get past that frustration, you should be smooth sailing. So when they test their components per hour, they stick one feeder in the closest position to the placement section and the camera, and they see how fast they can do one part from one feeder, like this.
It's like with Windows versions, every Rod 1 is just some lousy update.
I'm never going back to Charm High, ever. Yeah, this is different though. This is a new version of the machine. Anyway, they could have done more with it. You can use pogo pins to connect USB input or ensuring. I have to ensure the USB connector works. Yes, I cannot use pogo pins. I have to test the board the way a user would test the board. A user would use the board. Otherwise, I'm not testing the board. So, yeah. Okay, back in 1 second. I need to put the pick and place in warm-up mode. Okay, that is going. Looks almost a complete copy of Yamaha. We're not about speed, quality is the way we're in. Banking set most. Okay, cool. Cool. Yeah. Since I've been absent for a while, I can assume you're still happy with the Neodyne. So, okay. The Neodyne is competent. Like, I'm manufacturing quite easily with it. Took me a long time to really tune it and learn its intricacies. But it's purring along nicely right now. There are a few issues with it that are unresolved since day one. But overall, sure. But would I buy another one? No. And will my next pick and place machine, which might be sooner than you think, is going to be something very, very different. Who's going? Dave's going. Which Dave's going? Bye, Dave. Which Dave? Hey, Faultnology. Actually, you're only testing it half of the way your user does because of the flipping of the USB. I know, that's what I was saying before. There is no easy way for me to test that other than to flash it twice. So, yeah, I mean, I've been trying to work out an easy way to do that, and there just isn't one. Because of the way the USB-C standard works. Oh, piss off, naked thingo, whatever. Oh, Johnny got that first. Hey, Agim. Am I getting a Yamaha? No, not a Yamaha. I'm going to be going for something very different. When I'm ready. Gotta do it, Dave. Hey, Robert. Hi to anyone I haven't said hi to, by the way. I'm good, mate. I'm good. How are you?
Stephen Lutke Gates says finally used my dinner picker and board, and it's currently testing I2S audio, streaming music and radio from Home Assistant using Squeeze Lite.
Ooh, not heard of Squeeze Lite. I'll have to check that out. And yay to finally using your V1 Tiny Pico that's been sitting in a drawer forever. So like any PNP solution needs a lot of time to come to grips with. Another PNP is in the near future. Yeah. Yeah, I need I'm not ready to talk about it, but need a ramp. I'm ramping everywhere. Yeah, stay tuned. Stay tuned. Yeah, every pick and place needs, it doesn't matter what you buy, it needs time and effort to understand it and tune it and whatever it, yeah, it all takes a lot of effort and time for every panel that you're working on. Say on set 2 subscribers only and limit it to subbed to 1 minute or longer. Oh, for chatting? Yeah, I don't want to do it to, well, I could do it to subscribers only, but I don't think everyone here's a subscriber. I'm not sure if they are or not. And I'm not sure I can change that in the middle anyway. But as in while the stream's already running. So sometimes I'm not watching and I stick the clamp on the button, which means it holds the button down the whole time, which means it won't flash. You have to dust them off. Yay. Had a vacation, now I'm trying to force myself back to work. I reckon if I went on a vacation, I'd never come back. That would be it. Game over. Game over. I don't know. Are you the Lumen PNP? Am I the Lumen PNP? What? No, I won't be using a Lumen PNP. It's not really targeted for what I need. Lemon. The lemon. Yeah, it's the name's a little awkward. Like lemon. The lemon. The lumen. Nah, it's cool. I think Steve's doing a great thing, and hopefully he'll find a sustainable business with what he's doing. Yeah, that's fine if you're an employee, Dishipu. When you are the only person in the company, if you don't do the work, then it doesn't get done, and then you don't get any money. Hey Alan, good morning. Oh, almost finished the third one. Wow, 8 o'clock. See, I would have already been pick and placing for half an hour this morning already. It's a sign of popularity. Nah, I don't think so. That's fine. What's a vacation? Unless you're a government contractor. Well, maybe. I don't know. I've never been a government
Dr.
contractor.
Who says, can you set up a PNP to do board testing?
No. A pick and place is designed to pick and place. You need a completely different type of machine to do board testing. Well, I don't think the Lumen's the cheapest way. No, it's definitely not the cheapest way, because the Lumen PNP is a project. So just so you're clear, even if you get it, the new mostly pre-assembled version, you don't plug it in and start pick and placing. That's not how it works. You don't even get that with $1 million pick and place machine. Hey, Superhouse! Flying probe tester would be awesome. Right. And still won't do this type of testing. The Lumen PNP is like any open PNP kit project. I mean, John will tell you. Like, if it takes you 10 hours to build it, it'll take you 1,000 hours until you can make something with it. it's a project, right? Like us. So for those who don't know, Superhouse TV, that's John Oxer. If you don't already, okay, now it's shout out time for John. Check out John's channel. I'm gonna make John. Why aren't you a moderator? So John does videos and streams. He also manufactures. He's moving into a super lab. He's designing a super lab right now. He's going to move into for his business. Wait, we need to get. I'm going to get. We're doing the post. Anyway, so John, how much time have you spent working on your pick and place machine to make your pick and place machine work? Just roughly. Okay. This is... Oh, why didn't that work? This is John's channel. Everyone go sub. Yay. Super John. Like, I'd be surprised if John hasn't spent less than 10,000 hours on it. Like, it's a massive time investment. So yeah, just be mindful of that. The cost in money is not equal to the cost in hours. Superlab TV. Oh, that's a really interesting point. You're going to change to Superlab TV? Hey, Illuminator. Hard to guess it would be in the hundreds of hours, but not over 1,000. Really? Really? I guess I'm just throwing numbers around, but because 1,000 hours is a lot of hours. Anyway, still, it's a massive time investment. So just keep that in mind. The more turnkey the item is you buy, the less time you need to maybe invest, but there's still a massive amount of time to invest. Well, it depends what when you mean by a used pick and place machine. I mean, you can get one of the small Charm Highs, the desktop Charm Highs. I mean, my bad experience with Charm High was their larger model and their complete lying and lack of customer service and supporting their machine, right? Prior to that, I had one of their small machines, and I pushed out probably 10 to 12,000 boards with it, and it was a nightmare. Like, it wasn't a fun experience, but it worked. Like, you know. And there are a lot of other really cool smaller machines coming out, desktop class machines coming out. Biggest thing is that it's constant. It's not just make it work once. It's watching it and babysitting it. I got to sit and babysit mine all the time. You know what I mean? Like, just weird things happen all the time. And sometimes it's not pick and place related. Like, my most common issue that I have to deal with all the time is, like, it's pick and placing, and then all of a sudden it's failing to place a part, and I go look, and the reel itself, the cover tape on the reel, has come apart somewhere along on the reel because of bad glue or aging or whatever, and all of a sudden all the parts are stuck and wedged and the feeder's jammed, and I've got to pull it all off and kind of, you know, lose 100 USB connectors, and you know, suddenly I'm down 15 minutes on that job, on that board. It's just, the board's just sitting on the pick and place machine waiting for me to fix the reel because something bad happened on, you know, on the actual part itself. Happens all the time. Like, there's just, you know, as I say to people, you know, who have challenged me on my life's choices of self-manufacturing, you know, you look at these big Samsung production lines, like you look at Foxconn, right? Making iPhones, they've got like 100 of these massive lines, yeah? And what you see is dozens of people in white coats in front of all those pick and place machines all the time. Well, you think if they're spending millions and millions of dollars on a pick and place line that it would be perfect, right? No, those people are standing around there fixing issues all the time to keep the machines running, right? It doesn't matter how much money you spend on a production line. it's still massive amount of effort and labour to keep them running. It's automation's not a lie. It's just there is no such thing as automation without people around still. You know, like at worst they have to switch reels and switch, like splice in new tape when parts run out, you know. And at best they need to be fixing problems because, you know. Anyway, it's if they worked all the time you wouldn't need the status traffic lights on the top of them. Yeah, I don't think anyone even, I don't look at those. I think I folded mine over anyway. But yes, they after a first cheapie you get a better understanding of what you really need. At least with the Lumen you can improve it yourself. Absolutely, don't get me wrong. I think, as I said, the Lumen PNP has got its place, and I think they're doing a great job. But it's a project. Like, you need to make it work for you. You need to put in way more time than the cost of the machine. But you learn stacks in the process, right? Which is also extremely important. But it's a project, not a tool. And for me, with most of my things now, I need the tool, not the project. Some things I'll do as a project, you know, like my optical inspection, whatever else, because it really interests me and I'm curious. But I'm just as likely to buy an optical inspection machine shortly anyway, because I still need a tool. Don't mention unsupervised selective soldering machines. Never ever leave a machine to do its own thing. No, never. Like my laser cutter. Right? So, hang on. Oh no, okay, I must have thrown it out. So I've honestly been like cutting like 50 or 60, I don't know how many of these sheets, right? And it's just in there, and I'm spending most of my time in there watching it, occasionally walking into here to check some email, going back out, whatever. And the other day, for no reason whatsoever, it's one of the sheets is on fire and there's a big hole in it. Never leave your laser cutter unattended. Never leave your machines unattended. Which is why I won't do Wi-Fi control of my Reflow Master Pro, because that encourages people to control it wirelessly when they're nowhere near it.
Mako says send
Dangerous.
user Wi-Fi
No, you don't do that. You when you're running something with lasers coming out of it or soldering machines or whatever, you physically be present. I'm not talking about a 3D printer. I leave my 3D printer unattended all the time as well. Can you connect an ESP? I don't need to do that. My pick and place makes a god-awful noise when there's a problem. Beep, 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 beep. Yeah, I don't need an ESP to let me know that. Like, they can hear it in the house when the pick and place is going wrong. And then Yaz can normally hear me screaming and swearing. Possibly looking at lunch today. Am I free? I don't think so. No. Because I'm going to be starting pick and placing late today. How long have I been going for? Almost 2 hours testing and I still haven't finished. I'm on my last pile, but I've got to get these done. I've got to get them done. There's lots of hardware and software for monitoring production lines. That's not the point, though. Funny thing, this conversation was happening when I arrived because I'm in the process of starting a batch on my... Yay! You got your first KO going? John? Oh, are you taking a video? Yeah, but pick and place machines are, from a software point of view now, much easier to work with. Yeah, Like the near-end software is not perfect, but it's miles ahead of, you know, other Chinese pick and place machines, and way better than the, you know, Windows XP or DOS-based screens you got on really old machines, old Universal machines, and whatever else. So, yeah, it's kind of, that part's at least improved. Sparky Wild GVS yesterday, almost ready. That is awesome, John. I'm so happy for you. I know it's been a slog. So for those that aren't aware, John is moving out of his home office manufacturing into a warehouse, which he's calling Super Lab, and he's been documenting that process on his streams, live streams every Sunday, most Sundays, Sunday Australian time, around 10 o'clock in the morning, and he's been showing the progress of his Super Lab. And last Sunday, so like 4 days ago, whenever it was, 4 days ago, he moved one of his pick and place machines into his office because the production line area, the clean area, is not ready yet, and he's about to run his first boards on it. That is so exciting, so exciting. John and I have both been suffering from a major lack of space, and kind of, I explained it as like I'm working on top of myself. Like I'm constantly just dumping stuff on stuff on stuff. Like it takes me more time to clear space to do things than it does to just do things. Because anyway, and he's taken the plunge and moved out, which is just awesome. He's got he's got 3, Peter. Hey Peter, John's got 3 KOs that he bought secondhand. They're A4s, KO A4s, I think they are. What are you going to put them on, John? Are you going to get stands for them, or make stands for them, or just benches? Okay, I reckon I'm gonna have to start pick and placing soon. Lachlan and Steve have offered to help factory. Okay, that's cool. Okay, yeah, stands are better than trying to get them on benches, I think. Dun, dun, dun. What have I missed? Anything? Tick maker and hacker. Do I do this for a living? Yes. I design and manufacture my own products for a living. And this is the not so glorious part of it. There's very little glorious about it, I have to say. But the satisfaction of it is immense. Shorter space, put lots of gear into a container that got... Oh, is that what happened? Where was the container? Like on your premises? Wow, that's really bad. I love the idea of manufacturing. It's like, it's a slog. Like, there's no two ways about it. It's a hard life. Like doing manufacturing. Like there are just so many. That's really funny. I was going to say so many components. There is like so many actual electronics components, but there's so many components to the manufacturing process. Like it's a real juggle. Like I'm constantly having to make sure that I've got enough parts. I've got enough parts here, and I've got enough parts on the way. And especially now, can I continue to get the parts I need? And just the logistics of getting everything in and managing all of that. Catch you later, Andy Mouse. Have a good night. Thanks for joining. Right, there's just that. Every time I watch you build something, I think of the movie Silent Running. Why Silent Running? Oh, dude. Sorry to hear, Simon. Were you insured? I was insured. So, like, there's like that part alone is super stressful. Even more stressful at the moment than normal. And then it's you know, it's a massive financial thing as well. Like you got to have a solid gut sometimes. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's anyway. Lots of parts to it all, but it's like I find it quite rewarding. The having made these things is quite rewarding, but the process is far from enjoyable. Well, at this stage for me now, it's far from enjoyable because it's you know, it's not like, you know, okay, I've got this like next 2 or 3 days of this massive influx of work, you know, we'll get it done and everything's cool. It's every day. So like right now, I've just got jobs queued up. Like I'm, you know, I've got a couple of thousand boards I need to finish off this order, and straight away I've got thousands of boards for another order to do. And you know, and then by the time that's all done, there'll be another order coming through and another order coming through, which is great. That's what you want with business, but it's not sustainable for me. So, but as I said, I've got plans. Stay tuned. And no, I'm not moving to the EU. But everyone in the EU can move here. Okay, what's the time? It's been 2 hours and 4 minutes. 8:32. I'm so close. I've only got this many left. So close. Agree. Slow getting through this part of the process. Balanced out by the rewarding bits. Yeah. And it's the whole doing it all again thing. It's like you feel really good when you, like, you know, get this order done and it's out and you did it. Whew! And then you got to do it again. And you got to do it again. The treadmill. Yeah. It's a treadmill. Yeah. So that's okay. And my brain's going a million miles an hour, right? Like, I've got all these other things I want to do. I've got, as I said, product that I've not even made or released yet, sitting here waiting to get made. I've got people waiting for products that I don't have time to do at the moment. And then I've got other ideas of new products. And I've got thousands of dollars worth of parts that I've bought here for other things that I've not even designed yet, but I wanted to make sure that I had the parts to ship them, that I haven't even started designing yet. Like, oh, it's just crazy. Like, I need 20 more hours in the day. You need an MRP system. We have all parts in a system.
Mako says Sin thought all the pick and place feeders were electrical and not using them.
They're not. They are electric. All my small ones are. What's that got to do with anything? Sorry. Wouldn't running 2 test jigs at the same time help speed up the process? I'm running 3 test jigs right now. It was 4, but I've got something wrong with this one. I'm running 3 test jigs right now.
Nico says, and the compressor.
It still needs the compressor. It uses the compressor for all sorts of things. The pick and place uses the compressor to grip the PCB on the rails. It uses the compressor for with the Venturi to do vacuum as well as air for the nozzles. The compressors for lots of part of the pick and place machine, not just feeders, but
Nico
all of
says, I
my
got it.
12mm or greater feeders are all pneumatic still. I'll fix F4. I just haven't had time to do it. The pasting up of the first boards in the last batch isn't the best feeling. No, I love that feeling, Ian. Oh, it's not the pasting of the first ones. It's the will they work. Pat, I've got a system. I wrote one. I've got a thing called My Parts, which tracks all that for me. But it's all too fast. So it's fine if you've got someone whose job is to do that. I don't. I've got me, right? So either I could be sitting there and managing all of my stuff from an admin point of view, or I could just be out there doing the work, right? Why don't you get these pre-programmed from the factory? I don't know how much it costs. To get what pre-programmed from the factory? The actual chips themselves? Can't. And I can't. Like these chips, I use these chips on lots of different boards. So, I mean, yeah. And the firmware changes all the time. So, like the version... So, as part of this test process, I'm also loading on Swarm's firmware. So, when I ship these boards to them, their boards have got the latest firmware on them ready to go, right? Well, you know, Swarm have updated their firmware a few times in this process. Because that's what happens. So, yeah. No, and getting them done on the chip isn't an option and costs money. And I still have to test the boards anyway. Hey, Cable Tie. What did you miss? Nothing. How are you feeling? Yeah, Ian, I'm always more concerned about whether the boards will work. Like whether JLC have screwed the PCBs or not. More so than the first run of the board. Yeah. Yeah, Cable Tie's got COVID. I just found that my sister and her fiance have got COVID now as well. Yeah. Tie friend. Would you this? Yeah, I mean, doing like procurement and managing like stock and components and logistics and all that stuff. I mean, that's a full-time job in itself. Having good software is only a small part of the puzzle. The software is also going to be updated and maintained. You got it second time? Yeah, I've been hearing that people are getting it second time. Sorry to hear, Robert. I'm curious, is it worse second time? Or the same? Or less? Almost done. Yeah, so having the firmware on the chips isn't really going to save much here. Yeah. About the same, maybe a little less. Bummer. I was hoping you'd say a lot less. Okay. We should have 48 hours in a day, not 24. The problem is that, Paul, I just fill it with more complaining of needing more time. Like, you know, it's like complain about not having enough bench space, so you buy twice as much bench space, and then you complain not having enough bench space. It's the same with time. You just fill it, and there's still never enough time. Okay, so we're close. So close. Okay, two more, and we're done. Except I've got to load them into trays, but I'll do that later. I'll do that while I'm pick and placing. Oh, wow. Wasn't that fun? Catch you later, Mako. What's Paxlovid? I've never heard of that. Wagon loads? I don't know. Like, JLC PCB is still the cheapest by far. I definitely, use them. I complain a lot about them. I still use them. But, the amount of boards that I'm doing, like quantity of panels and quantity of designs, I'm bound to run into more issues than other people who do less. The best fun you've had all morning, watching me do this. I wonder, could you do the majority of the testing in panel with the pogo pins and then a separate fast test? Well, no, not really, because then I'd have to design a completely different test jig per panel design for testing like that, and to be able to test on a panel, and test all the I/O and everything else, would just I'd need. I mean, if you think of a panel, how long grab a panel? So think of the size. Okay, wait. 1 and 2, and they're done. I just did this many. Oh my god! Plus the ones that are on the tray. So if you look at a panel, hey Greg. Okay. Think of the complexity of the testing harness I'd need to put this in and test all those boards. And here's the thing. Pretty soon, stay tuned, watch this space, pretty soon my panels will be getting bigger, as in more boards per panel. Catch you later, Alan. So, but anyway, I'd need a custom solution, a custom harness and testing rig per panel type to test this, and which would be very, very expensive and time consuming to make. And then I'd still have to do the individual testing on them as well for the things that I can't test this way. So I don't really think that's a viable solution. Now, what could eventually be a viable solution, but again, totally custom. So with this system here, this was designed that I can just pull out an adapter, and here you go. Now I can do, I disabled the auto thing because it was noisy, but technically if I restart this, I can now do Pro S3, right? Like this rig here can do any board design that I've got, right? If I want to do a tiny S3, there you go, there's a tiny S3. If I want to do a tiny Pico, there you go, tiny Pico, right? 1 gig, any board can be tested. But the second I go and do something like, even if it's not a full panel, even if I split it where the USB is and I test 5 at a time, I still have to have 5 USB connectors, okay, which means a Raspberry Pi won't work. I'd need at least an external hub, and I'd need enough somehow to be able to either test I/O individually, or like by switching between different banks, or enough expanders to be able to test all of that I/O. And I know I can use threading, like in Python or whatever, but I don't know if I can concurrently write to 5 serial devices, serial ports on the Pi at the same time to be able to test them concurrently. and testing them one at a time, well, that defeats the whole purpose of doing 5 at a time. It doesn't have to be all the boards at once. An XY head on the pogo pins could just test board. Right, but that needs a fully mechanical... I mean, have you ever built a test jig, Jack McMack? Like, you're talking about months of time prototyping and trying to build a system that can do something like that, and then it has to be custom per panel. Also means the failure of the tester is more likely if the current system... Right, well, that's right. Like, this one is playing up, I don't know why, on the USB. I just take it out of the rotation, right? I'll fix it whenever. I can still keep going. And ultimately, I still have to test the board the way the user would use it. So, if I still have to do this last manual process anyway, I might as well just do it all this way. Like, it doesn't make any sense doing 2 lots of different manual work. I'm just adding more steps in the process. Have you done analysis of your most common failures? I have very few failures. So as I said, apart from the occasional USB connector where, you know, what'll happen quite often is, let me just grab a USB. So here's just some loose ones, right, for when I'm prototyping. So the most common issue I have with the USB connector is when they come off the reel. I don't know if actually, let me go to the microscope. This will be easier to see if it's the right way. No, let me just switch this. Okay, it's on a bit of an angle, sorry. So what will happen, one of 2 things happens, right? Either one of these plastic things is broken, right? I get that. So these come on reels of 1,000, and I'll get maybe 1 or 2 USB connectors that have a broken plastic noggin, which means they won't physically go into the USB slot. So when they get pick and placed, instead of sitting in a slot, like this, they sit up on an angle like that because the little pin's bent, right? And it won't go in. That I normally catch with my visual inspection, right, before I separate the boards. But another thing that happens, unfortunately, sometimes is these pins, these pins here, they're not flat. Sometimes one of them or 2 of them, and it's usually one of the data pins, is sitting proud a little bit, which means it doesn't reflow properly onto the pads. That is almost impossible to spot for me by eye when I'm doing inspection. Very rarely can I spot that. And that will normally fail the USB testing part, right? But only if I plug the cable in to test it. So if I don't physically plug the cable in, it won't, I can't test it. Which is why I have to do that. One of the rules for good testing is that the final test must be exactly as the customer receives the item. If you test in a panel, then split it, failure can be reduced at that point. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, that said, there are, you know, obviously an inline optical inspection system will allow me to... I'll catch you later, system. Take care. Thanks, Dodgy. Will allow me to do a better check of here. Occasionally I'll miss, when I'm doing a visual inspection of the boards, making sure all the parts are fine after reflow, occasionally I'll miss something, right? Because, you know, if you consider that I run 20 to 25 of these panels at a time, right? So 300 to 400 boards at a time, and that's a lot of inspection to do, and you get fatigued and you miss things, right? Like occasionally I'll, you know, the resistor for the LED will be not sitting quite properly, and then it kind of looks okay, but when I plug it in, the power light doesn't work, right? Or the most common problem I've actually got is with my, let me go back to here for a sec. I'll show you. So this component is my worst across all my boards. This, yeah, my little diodes I use, they're SOD 523 diodes, and they just, they actually reflow fine, but you can't, like, their legs on them go under the package, and so it's actually visually hard to tell sometimes if they've reflowed properly or not, because they look like on the pads, they look like they're pillowing, and it makes it look like it's not reflowed properly, but they actually are. They're perfectly reflowed because they're connected underneath. That's my most common component that either needs rework or I'm unsure about when I'm visually inspecting. And the only thing I can do about that is go for a larger package. But I don't want to go for a larger package because I can't fit them on my board. So there's a lot of space on this Swarm board. But if I go and grab here, so if you look at how much empty space there is, now my Feather S2 is packed. But the reason I'm doing these custom boards is there's a lot of stuff on the Feather S2 they don't need. But if you look here, this is my tiny S3. I don't have any room for larger diodes. There's just no room. Like, the next size up is way too big. And I standardize on all my parts. So I'm not going to run two different sets of diodes just because I've got more room on a different board. Does that make sense? Bigger pad to check solder. No, bigger pad is the problem. Hang on. Yes, intermediate tests are important too. I was just pointing out to the person saying that. Yeah, absolutely, right. No, but I'm talking. I was talking about, like, doing optical inspection is something I want to do in line. But I'm talking about actual, like, testing, like human testing of panels. I don't think would work with my workflow. Oh, you're massively underestimating the time it takes to create a test jig. There are companies that make test jigs, like custom test jigs for a living, and they're like $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 for a custom test jig. Yeah. Could flash a fat image with CircuitPython instead of mounting it as a USB drive. No, Michael, because then I don't get the UF2 bootloader. I'd need to find a way of flashing it all, UF2 and CircuitPython. And the problem then becomes, I've already gone through a couple of different versions of CircuitPython and the UF2 bootloader for these. And so what happens when they change and stuff? So it's more complicated. It would be faster, like it would take longer to flash with ESP tool, but it would not have to do the mounting process, which would be quicker. Well, it still has to do the final mount because I still have to talk to the board to test it via CircuitPython. So I need to boot into CircuitPython still. So when I test a board, it gets flashed with testing software and then gets loaded with their firmware afterwards. At Fridge we shipped more than 1 million boards. Frack! That's awesome, dude. Over 13 years, and the total returns was tracked in a spreadsheet with maybe a few dozen rows in it. Yeah. Does Swarm manually solder? They are currently, yes. They bought a soldering robot. They want me to do the header pins, and I said no. They keep asking me to do the header pins, and I keep saying no. They bought a soldering robot to do the header pins. So my problem is I can't... There's several reasons I don't want to do the header pins, apart from the fact that I don't want to buy a soldering robot. I can't selectively do them, right? Because a selective soldering machine is horrifically expensive, and I'm doing, like, the header pins will fall out. Like, they can't stay in place while they're being soldered. So they'd have to be done separately. And I don't want to ship the boards with header pins on them, because then I can't ship them dense like this. I need to, like, it would end up taking 3 or 4 times the volume. Swarm Space. Swarm Technologies. That's what these boards are for. That's what the Swarm logo on them. So this is a custom job I'm doing for Swarm, and they're happy at me talking about this. It takes 15 minutes one instead of 15 times 1 minute. You have free time between. Not if I'm spending $15,000 making a test jig. I don't. per panel type. Not really. Just need enough so you're always active. You have no waiting time. Right. So I have no idle time with the number I've got right now. My problem is when I'm testing, I can't be doing other things. But that gets solved by getting other people to help me, right? Probably increase efficiency by packing board at the same time as testing and not putting it down and picking it up later. Packing board at the same time as test. Oh, well, yeah, I was before. I was putting them in directly in before, but I don't have room on my desk to do that and get it under the camera. So that's why I'm putting them in here and doing them later for now, just from a space point of view. No, this has got to work with their existing design. So, and Castellated wouldn't work because their other boards are already made. So it's got to be header pins. This is their design requirement, not mine. I would like to push them towards doing, if they want, because they're sticking with the feather form factor. But if I can, so I'll have a chat with them later once this is all delivered. But to make the board a little bit bigger, a little bit wider, because I think they have the space to do a little bit wider, and do surface mount male pins at the back, and I could do a double-sided reflow. These are their existing design has been out for a while. This has to fit into their existing stuff. That's a whole conversation for them. So yeah, this is the design requirement, and yeah, they bought a soldering robot. They're doing all the header pins, which is great because I don't want to do it. Yeah. Just reading back. Sorry. I can't believe you've done over 1 million boards, John. That is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Must be hundreds of Chinese X-line workers in Australia who maybe have their own soldering iron. Yeah, I wouldn't want to do it. Like, I wouldn't want to. Yeah, no, that's not. Yeah. Okay, folks, now that I've tested all those, I need to go make more to test. I need to go, as I said, I've got to do at least 300, another 300 today, at least. And the faster I can get them done and finished, the quicker I can get on to the next production run. So, move the chat back over. So, I'm going to call it. Thank you all for joining. I'm sorry, I mean, it was a great chat. I really enjoyed the chat, which is why I did this. I'm sorry that it was boring watching me test boards. See, just to show everyone, it's not all glamour. Yeah. Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Azzy. Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't stream last week. I wasn't going to stream today. I literally about to cancel my stream last night. But Yaz said, why don't you just test boards and chat with everyone? I thought, that's a really good idea. Yeah, I was going to do something else for the stream. Actually, I'll show you the thumbnail quickly before everyone goes. Oh no, I stomped it. Okay, I can't. I wrote over it. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. Okay, I'm going. Thank you all for joining. I really appreciate it. Thanks for the super chats, folks, that did it. I really, really appreciate it. And I hope you all have a fun rest of the week. For those of you that are unwell, I hope you get better soon. And for those of you that are well, I hope you don't get sick. Yeah. I'm going to go make another coffee and go to Pick and Place. I will, Wagon Loads. Thanks. Bye, everyone. Take care.